Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So this is my blue iPhone 15, and full disclosure, it's not my main daily driver. I got it back in October of 2024, so it's been with me for about a year now. It's mainly my backup phone, the one I always have in my bag, and the device I use for testing things like new iOS betas and features. Right now, it's running the stable public release of iOS 26, and because of that lighter usage, its battery health is still at a perfect 100% with just over 200 cycle counts. We'll talk a lot more about what that means for you a little later, and just so you know, everything I say about this phone also pretty much applies to the iPhone 15 Plus. The only real differences are the bigger screen and, that beast of a battery. So in this video, we're going to cover what made this phone special when it launched and why those things are even more important today. We'll look at the design, the performance on the brand new iOS 26, the camera, and of course, battery life. We'll also have an honest chat about the things it doesn't have, like Apple Intelligence, and I'll tell you why for me, that's not a deal breaker. And we'll wrap it all up by looking at the price and why I think this is one of the best iPhones you can spend your money on right now. So what was so special about the iPhone 15 when it first came out? I mean, looking back, it was a really significant release because it was the first time that the standard iPhone really felt, well, not so standard anymore. It got three key features that were previously reserved for the Pro models, and these have now become the foundation of the modern iPhone experience. First, you got the dynamic island. This was a huge deal. It finally got rid of that old notch and made the base model look and feel just as premium as the Pro models. And it's not just for looks, it's a genuinely useful UI element for things like live activities, seeing who's calling, or controlling your music without having to jump back into the app. Second, and maybe most importantly for day-to-day life, was the switch to USB-C. After years and years of the Lightning port, the iPhone 15 finally joined the universal standard. That means one cable for your iPhone, your iPad, your Mac, everything. Now, it is the slower USB 2 speed, not the faster USB 3 you get on the Pro models. But let's be honest, for most of us, the real win is just the convenience of using the same cable for charging everything. Just for information, even the newer iPhone 17 base model is using the same USB-C like this on the iPhone 15, so yeah, it's just right. And the third big pillar was the main camera, which we'll talk more about in a bit. But these three things together, dynamic island, USB-C, and a major camera upgrade, set a new baseline for what a standard iPhone should be, and that's a huge reason why it holds up so well today. Now let's talk about the physical phone itself. The design is this perfect evolution of the flat edge iPhones. Apple gave it these slightly contoured edges, which just feels so much more comfortable to hold than say an iPhone 14. And this color-infused matte back glass, it just feels premium. It doesn't pick up fingerprints, and honestly, it still looks brand new after a year. The display is Apple's Super Retina XDR, and it's fantastic. The big spec here is the peak outdoor brightness, which can hit up to 2000 nits. That's twice as bright as the previous generation. In the real world, that just means it's super easy to see and use, even in direct sunlight. Okay, let's talk about what is not so nice on this display. The display is 60 Hz. It does not have the 120 Hz ProMotion you get on the Pro models. And look, if you're coming from a Pro iPhone or a high refresh rate Android phone, you might notice it at first. But here's the thing, Apple's animations are so incredibly fluid that it's the best 60 Hz experience you can get. And with the new iOS 26, it's even better. It honestly makes the lack of ProMotion a very reasonable compromise for the price. I've been running the public stable version of iOS 26 for a few weeks now, and it's made this phone feel brand new. The animations have this new, liquid glass effect that Apple is talking about. It's hard to describe, but everything just feels more fluid and responsive. I mean, I see a huge gap between this and older versions. It makes iOS 18 feel a bit dated. I did notice it got a little warm the first day after the update, but that's pretty normal. The phone is just re-indexing all your files to settle in. After a day or so, it cooled down completely. Day to day, it's just fast. Apps open instantly, swiping between them is smooth. For those who care about the numbers, I ran Geekbench 6 and got a 2626 on single core and 6538 on multi-core. What that means in the real world is that this A16 Bionic chip, which remember was in the iPhone 14 Pro, is still an absolute powerhouse. But the processor is only half the story. The other key spec here is the 6GB of RAM, and I can't stress how important this is for longevity. When I go back and re-review older base models like the 12 or 13, which only have 4GB of RAM, I constantly see apps reloading in the background. You switch from Instagram to Safari, some gaming or YouTube and back, and boom, Instagram has to refresh. With the 6 GB on the iPhone 15, that happens way less often. Multitasking is just so much better, and it's a difference you really feel, especially as apps get more demanding. I do some casual gaming on this phone too, and for most titles, it's fantastic. But if you're playing something really demanding like Genshin Impact on high settings for a long time, yeah, it's gonna get warm. Not uncomfortably hot, but you'll notice it and you might see some performance throttling over a really long session. So it's a very capable gaming device, but if you're a super serious competitive mobile gamer, you're probably looking at a Pro model anyway. Okay, battery life. As I mentioned, my phone is at 100% health after a year with 204 cycles. This is a perfect example of what's possible with lighter use, and this lines up with Apple's own data. For the iPhone 15 series, they improved the battery chemistry, and they now rate it to hold 80% of its capacity after 1,000 full charge cycles, which is double the 500 cycles of older iPhones. That's a huge deal for long-term health. But what about for a heavy daily driver user? I've spent a lot of time on forums and the consensus is pretty clear. For the standard 6.1-inch iPhone 15, you can comfortably expect a full day of moderate use. For the iPhone 15 Plus, the battery life is legendary. People regularly get through a day and a half, sometimes even 2 full days on a single charge. It's one of the best battery life iPhones, period. For my kind of casual use, mostly on Wi-Fi, not a ton of gaming, I can easily end the day with plenty of juice left. It's a reliable, all-day phone. The camera system is one of the biggest reasons this phone is such a great value. It got the 48 megapixel main sensor from the iPhone 14 Pro. Now by default, it uses a process called pixel binning to produce an incredibly detailed 24 megapixel photo. This basically combines the light gathering benefits of a 12 megapixel shot with the detail of a 48 megapixel one. The results are fantastic. Photos are sharp, colors are vibrant, and Smart HDR5 does a great job balancing bright skies and dark shadows. And the best part of that big sensor is that it enables a 2x optical quality telephoto zoom. It's essentially just cropping into the center of the sensor, but the quality is so good that it's like having a dedicated third lens. It's perfect for portraits and for getting just a little bit closer to your subject without losing detail. Another great feature is that the phone automatically captures depth information whenever it sees a person, a dog, or a cat. This means you can take a regular photo and then go back into the Photos app later and turn it into a beautiful portrait shot, and even change the focus point after the fact. It's super flexible and a feature I use all the time. And it's not just for photos. The video capabilities are really strong too. This phone can shoot in cinematic mode up to 4K, which is basically like portrait mode for video, letting you get that beautiful blurry background and shift focus smoothly. Plus, you get action mode, which is amazing for getting super steady shots even if you're running or moving around a lot. These are pretty great features for a lot of things, and this phone handles them really well. So let's be honest about the downsides. The biggest one on paper is that the iPhone 15 and 15 Plus do not support Apple Intelligence. This is because Apple Intelligence requires the A17 Pro chip or newer, and likely more than the 6 GB of RAM in this phone. But for me, this is not a deal breaker at all. You know, Apple Intelligence by now is like still on early beta. For any serious AI tasks, I usually use an alternative that's more powerful like Gemini or ChatGPT. So am I missing out? Honestly, not really. The other compromise, as we talked about, is the 60Hz display. Again, it's a trade-off, but one that I think is perfectly reasonable for the price. And that brings us to the main point of this video, the price. Since the iPhone 17 series launched last month, prices for older models have dropped. Right now, you can find a certified back market refurbished iPhone 15 for around $450 to $500. And for that price, you are getting a phone with a modern design, the Dynamic Island USB-C, a fantastic camera, great performance with 6 GB of RAM, and solid all-day battery life. The value you get for your money is, in my opinion, the best in Apple's entire lineup right now. So who is this phone for? If you're upgrading from an iPhone 11, 12, or even a 13, this is a massive upgrade. The much brighter screen, the dynamic island, the huge jump in camera quality, and the performance will make it feel like a completely new experience. For you, it's an absolute yes. If you're a current iPhone 15 or 15 Plus user, if you're watching this and you already have a 15, just keep it. As my experience with iOS 26 shows, this phone has so much life left in it. There's no compelling reason to upgrade unless you absolutely need that ProMotion display or Apple Intelligence. And if you're looking for the best value iPhone in 2025, This is it. It gives you a more modern and premium experience than the budget iPhone 16e, and it gets you 90% of the way to a pro experience for a fraction of the cost. It's the perfect intersection of modern features and an affordable price. The iPhone 15 is kind of a modern classic. It's the phone where the standard model finally got the features that really matter, and now that the price has come down, it's just an incredibly smart purchase. But that's just my take. I'd love to hear from you. Are you still using an iPhone 15? What has your experience been like with the battery or the camera? Let me know down in the comments. If you found this video helpful, a thumbs up would be amazing, and be sure to subscribe for more long-term reviews like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.